I'm here with Dr. Joey and Dr. Josh. Can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourselves? What's your role in the company? Who you are? What do you do?
Hey, so I'm Dr. Josh Moriali. I'm a physiotherapist, but play a big part in operations and financial related stuff. Now that we have Akash, though, not so much, and just managing the team as a whole. In addition to Joey, definitely helping on that side.
So I'm Dr. Joey, physical therapist as well. I play a big role in a lot of the marketing with Caitlin behind the lens, and I would say just branding and really spending a lot of time on partnerships and building relationships in just different areas of the industry and outside of the industry.
Today we're going to cover the mechanics of running progressive motion. And so to kick things off, I want to hear about a pre-systems world with progressive motion. How were you running things, 7 to 10 years ago, or maybe even what?
Whenever Young came.
How
are you doing it in that first 6 years of business?
It's funny because we didn't know that was wrong. But yeah, back then it really was just processing the credit card through our merchant and then making sure that we're busy, we're treating a lot, so that really part was fine because it was just me and him. It was pretty cool pretty easy to keep us busy. And then at the end of the year, our lawyer would pull up the P&L, which is profit and loss sheet, and he would be like, "All right, you guys made a profit this year." But yeah, I think a lot of it was like kind of look in the bank account and be like, "Oh, we have money.
Here we go.
Let's pay the credit card, pay the rent." Sometimes we forget to pay the rent. Yeah. Walk that check over, remember?
Yep. Remember that?
But yeah, so. Yeah, years back when we first started, there was no system, so that was
Zero.
We didn't know what we didn't know.
Yeah, same. We've come a long way. No systems. I think to Josh's point, we were seeing 30 plus a week regularly once we were humming. So I think that alone was like, oh, we're cool. We're working, and the commute. We didn't know what we didn't know, and we were good enough to just be busy. So that was interesting to live a business life of just working and not doing anything from a system standpoint.
And we had 2,100 square feet, and we didn't do nothing with it. We would run classes sometimes, but
not much.
Knowing what we know now, we would have been renting out the upstairs. We would have been having maybe group classes more often and parking spaces. There's only 2, so we learned some lessons there. So
a lot of lessons.
The business acumen that you had at that point of time, where did you learn that from? Was it from watching clinics that you had worked in? Was it YouTube videos, or how did you even get to that point?
I think you were the trailblazer on that because you had a coach initially.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I did end up hiring a coach when I felt like there was at least something there, right? And at that time, there was at least some basics around what a business is supposed to have. From even just the basic stuff. I'm talking vision, mission, purpose, having a bookkeeper to at least, work with you on the books. But there at that time, it was hard to find the right resource, right? So even that current coach, she didn't really assess, and this is not a hit on her. It's just what I realized, in the business world, there weren't a lot of coaches that were assessing a business. It was more of what do you think you need? And then you just, again, when you don't have enough clients, you just think, oh, I just need marketing. But really, you needed operational rigor around the processes. And then, obviously, marketing is very important.
All good things.
All good things.
Yeah, one of our coaches would be like, okay, what do you guys want to do today? It's all right,
I don't know. Yeah.
And that's where Young came in, and I guess kind of impressed us with, he came in and assessed the financial side, met with each team member.
Yeah, that was good.
Got a pulse on what things were missing, and that's when we got to work on creating, from a standpoint of admin operations, standard operating procedures, to having a cash flow tracker and projections and all that jazz.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, because I'm sure having someone come in and say, yeah, everything is off, you need all of this, and this, I'm sure that felt extremely overwhelming. So how did you approach that? What did you start with and prioritize? Tell me about those first couple months with Young.
I think that's where we I think Young also assessed me and him and seeing like where our strengths are. He's super creative and relationship like superpower for sure, and I'm more of like kind of like conservative, pay the bills, and like him like everything like this. So we kind of fell into our roles of like operations for me and financials, and then marketing and CEO for Joey.
Yeah. Well, I think going back, like I think we were at a point where we were ready. We were ready for like someone to really like. We knew it was gonna get hard. No, that hard, but we knew it was like, all right, we can't keep doing this. Like it's not sustainable. We know we need help, guidance, right? Like we needed to coach for real. Mm-hmm. And I think what I remember was Young asking, "Where is your culture code?" And I remember just like immediately speaking, and he's like, "No, dude. Like, where is it?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't have it." But you know, I don't know why. You know, it was such a transforming moment because you didn't realize, you knew how important it was, but you didn't realize how important. And having that evolving document, and it still runs our business to this day. Like, so grateful for it because it helps us get out of even our own conditioned self to go back to a thing that we promised each other and then promised the company. And that culture code is it's forever.
So for some of maybe our listeners who feel like they're at that cusp of okay, things, I really have something here. What were some of those trigger points for you where you're like, okay, I need to bring in someone to actually systemize this process?
I guess it becomes, if you want to scale, then you better have like some foundational, like operational things in place. And sole proprietor, at some point you're gonna definitely need to have this stuff written out, because then it does become kind of fleeting, right? It's almost like you got to put your flag in the sand and almost like set your terrain. And that's where, like, before, me and him, everything was in our heads. But then, help memory and thought process.
Fatigue. Yeah. Fatigue of like you just knew it wasn't the way, right? And I think part of that, I think when I reflect on it, like what scared us about scale, or at least I'll speak for myself, what scared me about scale was because if it was this crazy at 1 to 2 people, what is it gonna feel with 10, right? But it's because we didn't have systems. And so with that, there was like these feelings of like, yo, like we have something good, but like this can't sustain. Now we just have an expensive job, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's nothing against like people that want to stay small in regards to the sole proprietorship and whatnot. I think that's just a choice you make and be okay with it, right? But I think we realized there was something special that we had in collaboration together that needed to be shared, because we had enough people externally telling us that, and it was people that believed in us before we believed in ourselves. And so then we're like, hey.
And to go back to the question, I would say, like, there is no trigger. It should be in place. It shouldn't be in our head. Just reflecting and hearing us talk right now, I'm like, winging anything is not good. So having the systems in place and the marketing, like if you don't measure it, you can't manage it. Yeah. So like we used to, I don't even think we had a call log back then. We kind of had a system.
You started to, it just wasn't thoughtfully.
Yeah, because then, if you don't measure it, you can't manage it. Then it's like, okay, what'd you do different this week that got you more leads? Or how'd your sales process change so that you have more conversions? Like, what's your retention? It's like all these things that help guide the ship are super important. So if you don't have those, then you're guiding the ship with the blind eye.
Yeah, what were your most impactful systems, maybe in that first year that Young came in? What were maybe either 1 to 3 systems that?
Culture, the culture code. I think the check-ins, and we're revisiting how that's going to look probably in the future. We'll see, but even just that rigor of checking in with staff every single week, I definitely, especially given the current layout of our business, was really helpful.
I would say one of the most important ones was the admin standard operating procedures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, from how they manage the call log to how they manage like the closed business to how we contact clients after, like all this stuff's written down, whereas before we'd be like, oh, this is how you do it. No, this is like, we should be able to plug somebody in and they should be able to do the job right then and there with your operating procedures.
Yeah. Can you tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about the impact that all 3 of those had on the business and why they probably aren't even thinking about when
the admin one, it standardized the client experience, and it also gave us more data points. So now it told us like how many leads did we have this week. how many closed. Like it gives us those numbers. What was the other one? Big old check-ins helped us keep a pulse on the employees' health from week to week, so that it doesn't become a lagging indicator of like a month from now they were upset. But if we actually addressed it weeks prior, it wouldn't have become such a big issue. And then culture code, Joey.
Yeah, the culture code has been really helpful when, especially managing conflict. I think when and I was listening to something on that book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, you know, and I think about like if things are always rosy, that's actually a red flag to me, right? Like there should be some positive conflict within a business of like challenging people, and like that's like what makes a good team, right? But the challenge has to come from a good source, right? So if you're looking at the culture code and seeing the qualities of like a relentless pursuit, relationship focus, doing the right thing, when you see someone that's out of line of that, the challenge is how can we hold each other accountable to stay in alignment of that? And that's one thing that Young helped me with psychologically is it's not personal. This is more of an alignment to the thing that we all promised each other. And that made it feel so much better because then it's like, hey, this is not an attack on you. This is more of like, are you good? And that's what's been helpful too. Like checking in, be like, hey, how you doing? I just noticed that you haven't really been yourself and this is why. And you would just point to the culture code document, and it's been helpful to have a like more objective conversation versus making it like a personal attack.
And it also sets like the expectations, or even the expectations, right? That it's there. It's not like like I didn't know. It's like here's the document. This is how we run business and how we treat each other and how we treat clients and
Source of truth.
Source of truth. Yeah.
And then I think just to add on, like not only from the culture code helping us with client team member. I guess management. It's also helped us with decision making on who we team up with and who we affiliate with. I know we've had some opportunities with some big names that we looked at the culture code and it was an easy answer to say no. Whereas if we didn't have that, we'd be like, damn man, look at all this opportunity.
Yeah, conflict too. I mean, we had to make like pretty big decision on a couple things that we just kept checking in with each other. Like, yo, is this in alignment with the code? If not, easy answer. Hard feeling, but easy answer. So
it sounds like the culture code was really one of the most important, or not the most important, when it comes to the foundation of your team, the company, how it functions, etc. If someone doesn't have a culture code, how did you guys even go about creating this document?
I guess there's a privilege that comes with being an owner of your company, right? And that's what me and Josh recognize. And so that's why when we talk about the culture code, it's kind of rolls off our tongue in a sense because it's kind of like what we value in our life. And so being able to intersect how we kind of live our life and then injecting it into the company, it makes it feel more natural. And so I think for the person that is on the other side of this, like thinking like, dang, I don't even know what that is. I don't know. Like just start thinking about what things you value in your personal life and personal relationships. Start there and just write it down. And then that can be your starting point. And like we said in the past, like we're always wanting to evolve our approach. And I think the foundational truths of the code will always be the truth of it, but it will evolve in different ways. Like between you, Caitlin, and then Rashawn are really helping us like redefine how we follow through with our culture code.
I think we've been, in the past it was like a longer list and then it's becoming more and more concise. Like I guess how we communicate. It's a lot easier to just roll off your tongue now versus it was like one word kind of bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the foundation's there, but it might adapt just with the efficiency of how you communicate it though over time. And then just to answer the question on the work, I know Young had us do exercises. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were.
For which one?
For the culture code creation. There was like exercises we'd kind of do. It was way back. Where it was almost like words just rolling off our tongue. Like,
oh geez.
Yeah, there's
lost that one.
But Chat GPT, I'm sure, is a useful tool for help me create my culture code. If you type that in, I'm sure it'll probably give you a framework.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Take advantage of AI to help you.
And then what's the expectation around your team using the culture code? How do they need to leverage that?
We're definitely, I think that's one thing me and Joey learned over the last few years here is we're good leaders, but then we're still learning the management side. So the culture code, like that's like almost like our accountability template now. Like these are the things that we have to hold our flag in the sand with, and in the past, it's definitely, we allowed those lines to blur a little bit, but now we're getting better at holding that accountability. So the team, they wouldn't be with us if they weren't in some type of alignment with it. Like, but I think there's like just the minutia of like some of the small details, like getting more alignment on that, and that's on us. Like definitely communicating that and holding the accountability side.
And I think there's something there I wanted to touch on too, because I forgot where I read this. Oh, it was this rare leadership book about, you know, they were saying something along the lines of like, you know, where we focused on heavily is just being empowering and empathetic leaders, right? Being able to like hyper index on that, it's easier to go from that to then becoming a better manager versus the opposite, where you just hyper focus on just the optics and just the numbers and productivity, and then trying to be this empowering leader. And I think that is our biggest skill gap right now, which is why we love collaborating with people like you, helping us with a lot of the project management and just like making sure that we're holding people accountable, and then blending that with Rashana, because she's the one that's teaching our team the Mindset Mondays that's intersecting with the code. And I think that's what makes it fun, is like bringing in specialists to help us evolve this model. And yeah, it actually gives us grace, because then it's not on us, it's on us collectively as a team. So that's been fun.
Now I want to pivot back to the two of your respective roles within leadership. So we had talked about, Joey, you're more on the marketing brand side, Josh, you're more on the operations and finance side. So how did that decision come to be as to who's going to do what, and when did that type of conversation happen?
Young, right?
Well, even before Young, we kind of went that direction because that's where we gravitated. But then Young kind of put a stamp on it. Yeah, you're operations and finance guy. Yeah, you're CEO and CMO. So I would say Young assessing us and seeing like where our strengths are, and then kind of just giving that stamp of approval of where we kind of already were heading.
That was helpful, right? Because I think at that point, me and you were doing everything together. Because I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't know how to divide our role. Like, and so having that, like, we all know this, right? We gravitate to the thing that we're probably most comfortable with, and that's where I ended up, and that's where probably Josh ended up, right? But now, as this business has evolved, it's been dope to co-collaborate again. Now it's like we went our separate ways in our path. Now it's like, yo, let's come back together now. Like, really, because we started to understand what our gifts were within certain sectors of the business, and now we're pulling from each other to kind of make decisions together, but also like individually at the same time. So that's been kind of fun to just do that.
And bringing people in that their actual skill set is in like Akash and our finance now, managing like, there's some pretty complex calculations and projections, and it gets wild. And then also, the comfort of just, you're constantly riding the line of all these different numbers coming in, and so it's been a gift. So that's what allowed like bandwidth to free back up for us to collaborate again, like Joey's describing, of the marketing side and being the thought leaders within the business now.
Well, there's a quote I shared with y'all before from Greg Hoffman, and I think it describes us, and it's this, because Greg Hoffman was the former CMO of Nike, and it was just like, he put the words exactly into what I believe PM is, and why I think we're unique here is because he said style without performance is often fleeting and forgotten. Performance without style is respected but doesn't transcend. But when you multiply performance with style, you get brand distinction. And to me, it's that respect of like, we don't want to just look like this brand that is fly on the surface. Like, we want to have substance that is also intersected with a pursuit of like delivering a really meaningful product to help people. And when you can multiply those two powers together, then you can start to make waves in whatever industry that you're in. And that was just such a beautiful way. I wanted to call that out, just because it kind of gave respect to both sides of the coin, right? It's like, if you only focus on one, you're gonna get this, and vice versa. So
yeah. So can you walk me through what a typical work week looks like for you both in your operational roles?
So let's see. So Mondays tends to be our administrative day, where we're meeting with the team. We're having team meetings. We're doing mentorship, which is our 3R university, where we kind of try and get everyone up to speed on some of the systems that me and Joey dived into that they may not have been exposed to. And then from there, a a lot of it is then we have our actual leadership meetings where we meet with Young, Akash, we go over the cash flow, we go over marketing, we go over the projects that we're currently each working on, and if we need any assistance on that. That's a Monday. So it's like very administrative, very business focused or centric. I treat one client in the morning just because it comes to San Jose, it's easy. But our weeks are different though. You just want each of our personal weeks?
Yeah, I'd love to see.
Okay, so I'll go through mine.
Yeah.
So Mondays, okay, we went over that. That's like administrative business day, some treatment. Tuesday's like my crazy like home visit treatment day. I'm pretty much 10 hours of treating on the road. So I wake up 6:30 a.m., get on the road, first client 7:30, and then I get home a lot of times 5:30, 7, depending on if I have my later clients. Wednesday, this is where it gets important. You have to set your boundaries and because task switching sucks. So Wednesdays I set up where it's the morning is treatments, although we do have marketing meeting in the morning. But I'm usually on the road driving to the home visits that I do in Menlo. And then when I get back, the rest of the day is like administrative employee check-in times and stuff like that. Or maybe even, because I still run the books. I do the QuickBooks and payroll and all that. So that's an administrative like kind of operations day. And then Thursday I treat out of San Jose. So I'm in my home lab, which we created during COVID. Each of us have our own labs at our houses. And I pretty much have a couple check-ins in the morning, and then the rest of the day is treating clients. And then Friday, I set boundaries once again, because it used to be crazy. I would do like crazy amount of home visits. The morning is treating clients on the road, so I go to Hillsborough, and then the afternoon is administrative related stuff and catching up on any of the books. And then sometimes I'll add a client in, and then with great gratitude, the weekends I'm with my kids, so I try not. Well, I'm sure we knock out like Slack stuff, but nothing where it's like I have to be somewhere. So yeah, Saturday, Sundays like family time.
Yeah, so this is actually what I'm like. We just came out of a mindset workshop, goal setting, right? And this is actually probably one of the biggest things I need to really personally work on, just because as things have become more erratic with like opportunities, like I'm giving up certain things to just like do it, right? And so to Josh's point, Monday, just try to really hone in on just all the meetings. Like I'm treating someone tonight at 8:15 p.m. Like I don't do that, but sometimes you gotta just do it, right? And I think that's one thing that me and Josh recognize. Like there's so many times that we just gotta do what you gotta do to move this thing forward, and sometimes it is stretching your boundary. So I'm doing it just for this one gal that needs to get ready for her game tomorrow, and so I'm gonna do it. Tuesday, I recently just said, you know what? I need to just like commit to just let me flood a Tuesday so it's heavy treatment versus like this half bag of treatment and then half bag of like doing other things. Let me just give all my energy to treating, and that's been helpful because then my brain on Monday goes get ready for the treatment day, show it with more intention to give, versus like, oh man, the first half I got to treat, and then like it creates this like internal resistance. So I'm really working on just aligning my days. Wednesday, I recently been flooding with we do marketing in the morning, and then I've saved that first half for check-in, so it's like same energy, right? Like checking in with a few of the staff members back to back. And then I can transition the hat to treating. Thursday we have we're actually in Bible study together 10 a.m. We've been doing that for like 3 months now.
It's been a while.
4 months. And you know, that's been amazing just to kind of towards the end of the week just kind of reground spiritually. So that's been nice, and surrounding those is treatments, and it's varying depending on who needs the work. And then Friday, just in the last few weeks, I've been blocking my Friday for Jeremy, just because we've pivoted recently on how we're attacking our second session of the week, which is me now guiding him through his lifts versus a PT session, and that's been really helpful. And then I save time to hopefully watch him play ball. So that's part of, I think, the joy, but also I guess it's excitement for me to like see the work on the court. So that's kind of what it is. And Saturday we're pretty good about.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds like you have really developed some strong boundaries along the way over the years and enforced quality time to do the administrative stuff, but then also still seeing your patients and the treatment and such as well.
Yeah. Need to create more. We were talking about this, and we're gonna have to revisit it, but like we need more time together where we can dream and, you know, not just focus on the problems, but also like where do we want this to go, and giving ourselves probably individually time to also create in our own mind. Like, so I'm working through that.
Our whiteboard sessions, man, we used to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, my last question is, and then we can wrap this up, is your two different styles, your strengths, how does that show up in your leadership with the team as well?
That's a good one. You
I
go first on that one?
Sure, I'll go first. Obviously, with operations not being my strong suit, I think Josh helps me just like, how are we going to hold them accountable? How are we going to like make this repeatable? And so he will challenge me in those senses to like think about like, all right, because sometimes just off the cuff leadership, right? When someone needs support, like you just do what you have to do within that moment, but then also like, all right, how do we take that, but also like make that scalable across of our staff, you know? And so in a weird way, I don't know, I feel like he shows up in his own way, I show up in my own way, but it's like, it feels, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a hard one to answer.
Yeah, because we have similar.
Like I don't know if you want to, is there anything you want to pull from on that? Like,
So it sounds like your leadership's approaches are very similar, mostly because you guys tend to be on the same page with everything.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't need to leverage, a more analytical mind versus a more creative mind, or do you guys approach things a little bit differently because you approach operations differently, or are you guys pretty much on the same page?
I think that's like the leadership is very motivational. Like we're very like get you pumped. That's like our gift, but then it could be the curse too. And then it's like now the accountability side. Like it's not all like beautiful, and there's some difficulty in achieving that. Yeah, so it's like.
Okay, tactically speaking, when we do check-ins, if there's something that really comes out in these check-ins, we'll message each other.
Yeah.
And that's super helpful.
Constantly communication with that stuff.
Yeah, that one's helpful to get perspective from the other person, or at least just updating, right? Just like hey, this is how this conversation went, this is where they're at, and just that touch point, because we don't see each other every day, is super helpful.
Yeah, we come from sometimes I'll say something and he'll be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, and then vice versa. So I think that the constant communication side of it. But yeah, from a standpoint of the strategy behind it, we're very similar.
That was a tough one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then I lied, one more question.
Okay.
So just to, before we part ways, if you have any advice for people who are currently in the spot you guys were 6 years ago, what advice would you give? What should people prioritize if they're trying to scale and build systems?
I'd say always seek mentors. Always, and don't think that you know it all already, because you don't know what you don't know. I think the power of social media now, it's so easy to send a DM now, a voice DM, and then connect with somebody that you didn't think you would be able to connect with. And just continuous learning, and take the time to reflect on what you really want. Draw it out, write it out, and then a dream without goals this stays a dream, right? So you dream, get some goals, reverse engineer those goals, and that's the secret sauce right there.
Yeah, a few things came to mind. Be intentional. Whatever you're doing. Don't do it in a slimy way, but I think one thing I'm getting better at this age now is calling out kind of what I want up front, just so that people, because everyone knows that we all have an agenda for something, right? So I think that's important to say, hey, I'm looking for help in this area. Would you be open to talking? Don't be afraid to send those messages out, because you just never know. People would be willing, and also respect people's time. I think that's one thing I didn't consider too much when I was sending all these messages in the past. People are so busy. And so that's important. To be curious, stay curious. Like you said, you might think you know a lot, which you probably do, but you don't know what you don't know. And so if you can remain curious, you'll find yourself in these rooms or in conversations with people that might inspire you. And 3, get out of your industry so that you can gain perspective on what other people are doing in their respective industries, because what you'll find is you're gonna learn a lot of things from a creator in videography or photographer or interior designer or even an accountant and how well they run their systems. Like there's so much to pull from different people.
Well, Dr. Joey, Dr. Josh, thank you so much for your time and your insights, and to our viewers and our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Longevity in Motion, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace.